people often fall sick during monsoon. Why does this happen? Why is our immunity low during monsoon?
If you are someone who has been eating a healthy diet, and if you're someone who's been, generally living a healthy life and diet and lifestyle and exercising and everything, the weather doesn't significantly change your immunity.
What are some signs that our immunity might be low?
Signs of your immunity being low is if you're going to be catching infections or falling sick pretty often, or even if you are someone who tends to take much longer to come out of an infection.
Is there any way to boost your immunity during this monsoon season?
One way of boosting your immunity is by falling sick.
Are there any superfoods that we should include in our diet during monsoon?
Welcome to a brand new episode of Ask Amita. Here we bring you all nutrition mythbusters, detailed, practical, sustainable, and simple information about all nutrition topics or questions that you might have. And of course, as always, all of the guidance is rooted in evidence as well. Today I have with me Gauri, who is going to ask me questions on your behalf. What are we going to talk about, Gauri?
In today's episode, we are talking all about immunity in monsoon.
Lovely, very, very trending right now.
Yes. So people often fall sick during monsoon. So why does this happen? Why is our immunity low during monsoon?
It's more a function of there being a greater density of microbes in the environment than our immunity being lower. So, if you are someone who has been eating a healthy diet, and if you're someone who's been, generally living a healthy life and diet and lifestyle and exercising and everything, the weather doesn't significantly change your immunity as such. But during monsoon, what happens is the air around you is more dense, which means the density of the pathogens, which are the virus and bacteria. So virus, which is the common cold virus, or even the bacterial load that you have, all of that, the density of it is going to increase around you, because of which the probability of you catching an infection increases, because you're simply exposed to that much more of the pathogen load.
What are some signs that our immunity might be low?
Signs of your immunity being low is if you're going to be catching infections or falling sick pretty often, or even if you are someone who tends to take much longer to come out of an infection. To give you one example, a common cold is going to last you 5 days, okay? But if you have continued symptoms of cold for over a month, this happens with some people, then it means that you need to do something in terms of your diet and exercise and lifestyle, sleep for that matter, to be able to fix this. For some people, what happens is they have had a long exposure to antibiotics. A lot of people also have a very bad habit of popping general antibiotics like azithromycin. Now, when you are taking those kind of medications, that is also impacting your health, your immunity, your body's response to infection, as well as your gut health, because then it's just going to indiscriminately, for no reason, go and destroy your good gut bacteria.
Yes, definitely. So, is there any way to boost your immunity during this monsoon season?
One way of boosting your immunity is by falling sick.
Oh, strange.
So, to give you an example, is that when we are exposed to some pathogen, okay, so for example, when we were exposed to the COVID vaccine, what is that vaccine? It's the dead virus or some parts of its mRNA that we have, okay. So, when you are inoculating yourself by choice as a vaccine or by falling ill, wherein you caught common cold and now your exposure to it has improved because right now you have antibodies for it, so which is how you boosted your immunity. Okay, so that is one way of going about it. The other way, wherein you can't say that you are going to boost your immunity, but you can support your immunity by eating the right kind of diet. Okay, so for example, a lot of people are deficient or barely have any vitamin C in their diet. A lot of us, when we ask, even in our clinic, when we ask people, how many fruits do you eat per day? Barely anyone is going to tell you, one fruit. Invariably, people are bringing back the apple they carried with their lunch boxes, right? It just keeps traveling to and fro from the office back to home. Now, when that is happening, when you don't have enough of fruit intake or enough of vegetable intake, or your diet is deplete of whole grains and pulses, for example, you are innately going to be deficient in a lot of vital micronutrients as well, which then impacts your immunity and becomes a barrier in you supporting your immune response.
But I've often heard people say don't eat citrus fruits during monsoon because of it you will catch cough or cold. Is that true?
That's not true at all. In fact, what you should be doing is, of course, citrus in India, you don't get, it's not seasonal during monsoons, but you do get other monsoon fruits. So, things like jamun, for example, or even guava. Now, guava is loaded with vitamin C. So, by that logic, even guava should cause you trouble. But in fact, if you are eating guava, you're eating jamun, you're eating karunda, you get a lot of amla, like even the Indian gooseberry. So all of those fruits are going to help you improve your immunity and protect you from any illnesses. There are some people who have a little bit of a sensitivity of sorts when they eat lemon, or when they, some people also report the same thing with guava, that if they eat guava, then it gives them phlegm, it makes them cough a bit. If that is the scenario for you, if it's something specific to you, then you can always have some other fruit. But there is no general assumption or general guideline as such. You need to be eating your fruits and vegetables to be able to, keep your immunity levels up.
So what are your thoughts on immunity drinks or kadhas? Are they really useful, or it's just a hype?
You are really asking me some tough questions here. Okay, immunity kadhas. See, a lot of times what happens is these kadhas, they are a blend of various spices and herbs. Some people are okay with it. It doesn't seem to be impacting them adversely. But there will be other people for whom all of the excess of the spices that you're taking, and you're like boiling it, and it's a reduction. So it's a pretty concentrated reduction of herbs and spices that you're taking. For some people, that can give them constipation simply because of there being a very high load in terms of the extracts in the water that you're drinking, because that kadha is nothing but infused water of sorts. For others, it can even make them give them like a reflux, or give them a burning sensation. So if that is happening, don't have that. To my mind, or to even nutritionally, the safest bet is going to be you having a ginger lemon tea, for example. It's food. It also can soothe you if you have some phlegm, because warm water generally is going to do that, and plus you end up taking in some vitamin C. It's a win-win.
So fermented foods like dahi, idli, are they really good in monsoon, or should we avoid them completely?
So the thing to be careful about when eating fermented foods in monsoons, because there's so much humidity in the air, all of these fermented foods, they tend to get fermented very quickly. So from someone who cooks regularly at home, from my perspective, this actually is a perfect time to be making your sourdoughs, or to be making idli batter or something, because it's going to really give you a quick rise in the batter. But with that also comes a risk of there being over fermentation. Now with idli dosa batter specifically, or even dokla batter for that matter, if it is over fermented and then you eat it, some people report digestive issues with that. So that's the only thing to be careful about.
Are there any superfoods that we should include in our diet during monsoon?
No, there are no such superfoods that you should include during monsoon. But what you do need to be careful about is that you hydrate yourself well, because During monsoons, you tend to feel thirsty less because the environment is all cooler. So you need to be taking in a good amount of water, and of course keep your diet balanced. So having vegetable soups is going to help you to get in those polyphenols and antioxidants, and also some good fiber, some good prebiotics from that as well. So that will help you. You can also be opting for lean proteins in monsoon. Fish, not so much, because it's say your breeding season for fishes, so you don't have trawlers going into the waters anyway. So don't eat fish because they are like, this is the time when they are making more fish. Okay, so that's common sense. But otherwise, lean protein, lots of vegetable and good amount of fruits, and just in our context in India, we just need to be careful about ensuring that we are eating things that have been boiled or are hot, and not opt for things like pani puri. This is not the time for to be eating golgappa and pani puri, because they can be literally cholera hot houses right now, and you will find a lot of waterborne diseases, rampant in this season. So be extra careful when you're eating out. Make sure that whatever you're eating is coming to you piping hot. So also no salads this season. I don't recommend eating salads outside because they are invariably not cleaned well in the monsoon. So unless you are guaranteed, you're assured of the hygiene levels of where you are eating those salads, or where if you're making it at home also, be extra careful about the cleanliness, because there could be some worm or there could be some dirt which can give you food poisoning.
Immunity shots are often popular on Instagram these days. So, are they really beneficial?
Immunity shots come in varied colors and varied vegetables. Yes. You have things with mint and spinach and beetroot and whatnot. I don't recommend taking any vegetable juices or any blends with, say, turmeric and wheatgrass and tulsi and whatnot, because all of these things, they tend to have a high because all of these things tend to have a very high oxalate load. Now imagine a situation where you have someone with diabetes who is already predisposed to any other secondary complications, and this person is taking immunity shots with such high oxalate loads. They are going to very quickly get kidney stones, and no one will remember those immunity shots 3 months down the line that that person was taking, and everyone will think that, oh, now we have kidney stones. For all you know, they will start taking some other herbal shots to for counter that kidney stones. But any vegetable juices are not recommended, be it for immunity, be it for your sugar management or anything. I don't recommend those at all.
Okay. Then what if, for example, a person is sick, he or she has cough or cold, and the weather also calls in for chai. So what if he or she drinks chai with ginger, lemongrass, tulsi? Will it help to cure his cold or cough?
It won't help to cure the cough or cold, but what it will do is chai with those herbs can become a little soothing for your throat. So it's a nice feel good. The common cold is going to take it's 5 to 7 days to for you to feel better. In that time, having, if that little cup of tea is helping you feel less miserable, you can have it. But again, remember that if you are someone who has lactose intolerance, or if you are someone who also has acid reflux or constant gastritis kind of situations, then having so much tea is not recommended. So don't do that.
Okay, so my last question, what precautions does one need to take to prevent this illness in monsoon, or to help build his or her immunity?
The work for immunity does not begin in monsoon. The work for deeper health is something that you have to do year around, okay, all through the year. Yes. So you cannot start digging a well when there's a fire, simply put. So you work on it through the year, you keep your diet healthy, you ensure that you are working out, you ensure that you are sleeping well, you make sure that you have enough protein and fiber and good fats in your diet and whole carbs, which are going to keep you energized, and overall you are supporting your immunity. and yeah, and make sure that the hygiene of wherever you're eating from is up to the mark. It's super clean. It's something that you can trust. It's not something which is, say, where you are eating some street side food and you know that area around it is not particularly clean. Don't eat at such places. It's common sense. So don't go about, hunting street food in the monsoons, because you never know where the water is coming from or what kind of contamination there is. That's all that you can do.
So people also suffer from stomach ache or stomach upset during monsoon more often. So what could be the reason behind it?
It's all waterborne, these illnesses. Diarrhea invariably is in the monsoon that happens due to waterborne infections, and those are coming through the water that you are drinking, or the pani puri or the puchka that you ate, or it could even be coming from some juice or beverage that you had someplace. Some people would also be having things like sugarcane juice even up till now. So all of that, so hygiene is the biggest factor. When you are not eating or drinking whatever you are having from a clean place, then the chances of you getting diarrhea is very very high. And again, like I explained earlier, the way the salads have been washed, or whether it has been cleaned properly or not, that also matters. That could also give you diarrhea.
Okay. So that's all for today's episode. If you have more questions, do let us know in the comments below.
And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this. You asked for this, you asked for a podcast in English, and which is why we brought this to you. I do want you all to show us more love and support by sharing and subscribing this. See you soon.